Top story this evening, though. The Supreme Court has rejected the latest legal challenge to the high-speed rail scheme HS2. Opponents have argued that ministers were failing to meet their obligations to protect the environment in their plans for the line. The line, of course, which is scheduled to run from London to Birmingham and come right through the heart of Warwickshire. The court, though, unanimously dismissed the claims of the campaigners. So, is this the end of the line for those campaigning against High Speed 2? Joe Rukin is from Kenilworth. He's campaign manager for Stop HS2 and somebody we've spoke to regularly on this story on BBC Coventry and Warwickshire. Joe, good evening to you.
Hello again, Phil.
Must be a bit of a blow for you, this today?
No, not really. We expected this to happen, to be perfectly honest. Realistically, what's happened today is that the strategic environmental assessment regulations have been ripped to shreds, and which creates an alarming precedent for anyone who's involved and concerned about the environment, water supplies, cultural heritage, all this sort of stuff, because HS2 Limited haven't done proper assessments on these issues, right, and of course the strategic alternatives to HS2, and that's what we've always argued for.
But if the court have ruled on a point of law, and said that HS2 haven't acted illegally, this can now go ahead. There's nowhere else for you to go with your campaign, is there? They can start work on this now.
Oh, no, absolutely. They may not have acted illegally, but they have acted immorally. And we knew right from the start, these are European laws that have been adopted into the UK legislature. And realistically, we always knew that we'd have to take this fight to Europe. And when we go to Europe, we expect a completely different verdict, because basically the laws that we've adopted from Europe, the strategic environmental assessment regulations, have been shredded. What's happened today is it's been said that, you know what, the bigger the project, the less the environment matters, the less cultural heritage matters, the less, water supplies and flooding matter. I could reel off a whole host of other issues.
Right. But the bottom line is, Joe, you are intent to continue your campaign, and you take this on, and you take this to Europe now.
Yes, absolutely. The very first thing that will happen now is that we'll report the UK government to the European Court for a failure to apply the strategic environmental assessment regulations and comply with the Aarhus Convention, which, I won't bother the listeners with explaining
what the Aarhus
Thank you. Convention
yes.
is. But, it's a convention that we signed up to, and
so you think
completely ignored.
You think that the European law then will supersede our Supreme Court and will do what? They will say, no, you've got to go back and look at these strategic environment assessments again, and that will further delay this project.
Absolutely, that's what we were absolutely certain will happen right from the start, because the UK legislature and judiciary, I should say, has just torn up laws that have been adopted into the UK law, and the strategic environmental assessment regulations are now completely worthless.
Right.
They're totally unenforceable as a result of this result of the legal hearings that we've had.
Well, we'll get a reaction from HS2 on that in just a second. But Joe, I've just been given some breaking news here. The government have just agreed to give opponents like yourselves of HS2 more time to respond to the environmental statement accompanying the project. This, they say, after 877 pages were left out of the original document by mistake. So I recall last week saying there was another extension added to this, so that's a second extension in a week. The new deadline to respond to this is the 27th of February. Gives you an extra 7 days. What's your reaction to that news that we've just had?
Well, my reaction to that news is, why has it taken HS2 Limited 2 days to actually react to the House of Lords ruling on Monday? I appeared in front of the committee on Monday, gave evidence, and they said that basically, because the consultations is effectively restart on the 2nd of January, and therefore the deadline was the 27th of February. And it's taken them 2 days to agree with this. And I'm bemused as to why it's taken them that long. Well, I think it may be a bit of media management to try and make sure that it was buried by the High Court ruling today.
Well, let's put that to Ben Ruse, he's lead spokesperson for HS2 Limited, the company behind the project. You playing a bit fast and loose with the information here, Ben?
Well, I think what's amazing there is that the anti-lobby for HS2 have said they expected this ruling to happen, and yet they're happy to make you and I pay for the process. This has clearly put taxpayers' money at risk, and it's regrettable that the government has been forced to spend large amounts of money, and those people that bought this case through local councils have also been had to spend large amounts of money on a case they expected to lose. That sounds, frankly, a little irresponsible. But let me come back to your question on the 2 days for us to respond. Look, all sorts of things need doing when the consultation gets extended. We need ads placed and other bits and pieces. We need to make sure we can comply with those. We now know that we can. And look, consultation is important. It's at the very heart of what we do at HS2. We are out there. We've had thousands of meetings up and down the line. We go and we meet people, we do consult, we make sure we have met our obligations, and 7 judges today have agreed that we've done that. Yeah. So look, we're happy to comply with February the 27th. We just got to make sure that when we say we're happy to do it, we are able to do it, and that's what's taken the next 2 days. We have, as I say, there are all sorts of things. It's not just as simple as extending the consultation. You have to put ads in local papers, and you have various bits and pieces that you have to do. And we've got to make sure that in accepting the extension, that we can comply with that. And now we know that we've complied.
So Joe Rukin saying that this 877 pages left out the original document. You've decided not to reply to this until today, in the knowledge that this Supreme Court ruling would come out, that this is a bit of media management by you. You'd hope this news would go away because the Supreme Court ruling would supersede it.
Look, let's be honest,
that's not what you've done.
I agree. Look, we don't want to play games here. Look, and this is, there are bigger things.
That's what you're accused of.
Look, well, that may be so, but there are bigger things afoot here. HS2 is a huge project. It brings with it huge benefits. It brings huge numbers of jobs. It brings huge opportunities for young people, and it brings widespread regeneration and capacity relief to get this country going back on a competitive edge. If we're going to do that, absolutely. The big projects mean that people are affected. And when people are affected, you have to consult. And so if we're asked to make sure we've got an adequate time for consultation, we will do that. But whether all 7 judges agreeing with the Court of Appeal and a High Court that we've done exactly what we were supposed to do is playing games, I'm not sure that's quite fair.
Okay, well,
and I should add finally that not finally, but for this point, is that the Court has decided that it's not necessary to refer any EU law questions to the Court of Justice of the EU. They've decided that. So
it's not going to stop them, though, is it?
Well, it's a great shame. I mean, this is a huge spend of public money. What we're asking people now is to look. Don't be anti-HS2. Clearly, growing support, certainly as I see it across the country, for HS2. People do realise that there's a huge economic boost in the offing in the Midlands area that's worth up to £1.5 billion, up to £3 billion a year when the full network is operational.
Ben Ruse, anti-HS2 campaigners are going to Europe. If the European courts decide that you have been in violation, at least morally, of the strategic environment assessment that's been ruled on today, this gets parked again. It goes further down the line. There's more delays, and all the time people are asking, will this thing ever get built?
Well, look, I think a European challenge is going to take years, Phil, let's be honest, and the costs will be huge. In the meantime, look, I think let's make it absolutely clear, we are certainly not vitriolic here. There are no champagne corks popping at HS2 House. For us, there are no victories and no defeats. We just get on with delivering the project. The country needs this project. It's jobs, it's homes, it's young people acquiring new skills, it's regeneration, and the most benefit is felt outside London. It's about rebalancing the economy. Really, really important, big things happening for the country here. So no, you won't get us. There are no party poppers being opened at HS2. We just get on with delivering the project.
Ben Ruse, lead spokesperson for HS2 Limited, and before that it was Joe Rukin from the Kenilworth-based Stop HS2 campaign.